Namaskar children, welcome back to today's class. And today primary, secondary and tertiary sectors in India. First picture, in this first graph you can see that production of the goods and services in three sectors. This is shown for 2 years like 1973 to 74 and 2013 and 14. You can see how the total production has grown over the 40 years. If you see the picture here 73 and 74, what is your observation children? Primary sector is more comparing to secondary and tertiary sector GDP, gross domestic product. What is gross domestic product? The total value of goods and services produced in three sectors in every financial year in the country headed by the Central Ministry of India. That is GDP. So 73-74 primary sector brought so much GDP. Whereas the comparison 2013 and 14, what happens? It was changed. Tertiary sector brought so much GDP. So what does the comparison between 73, 74 and 2013 and 14 show? 73, 74 shows that primary sector is more in GDP, whereas in 2013 and 14 the tertiary sector is more GDP it was brought. Why? What conclusion can we draw from the comparison? Let's find out. And coming to next graph, because today I want to explain the graph diagrams. Coming to second diagram, if you see here 73 and 74, if you observe that the rise of share of sectors in the GDP. So what it represents? Percentage share of the three sectors in GDP. Now you can directly see the changing importance of the sectors over the 40 years. That means, what do you observe? A remarkable fact about India is that while there has been a change in the share of the three sectors in the GDP, a similar shift has not taken place in the cases of employment in the next graph. So here if you see the share of sectors in GDP 73 and 74, primary is 40% and 40 to 50%, 10% is secondary and next tertiary. And now next picture if you see 2013 and 14, tertiary sector is more in the GDP. And coming to third graph, share of sectors in case of employment. If you see 72 and 73, what do you observe? Share of employment in three sectors 72, 73 and 2011 and 12. The primary sector continues to be the largest employer even now also. 74% people are working in primary sector and 11% people are working in secondary sector and 15% people are working in tertiary sector in the year 70 to 73. Of course, you may not born at this time, but you have to know about it children because you are very smart. Coming to 2011 and 12, they have given primary sector 49%, 24%, secondary sector 27%, tertiary sector in the cases of employment. And what is the question? Why did not a similar shift out of primary sector happen in case of employment? Why? Because why primary sector 74% are employed in 72, 73 and 2011 and 12 also 49% are appointing only in the primary sector rather than 24% and 27% tertiary means it is because not enough jobs were created in the secondary and tertiary sectors. So this is a 1 mark question. The question and answer is given in your textbook, page number 25. And now let us come to that. Even though industrial output or the production of goods went up by more than 9 times during that period, but employment in the industry went up around only 3 times. Children, remember Listen carefully. Actually, if you see it here, 27% people are working in tertiary sector. Means those people are producing the goods 9 times, but employment is 3 times. This is the reason enough jobs are not created in the secondary and tertiary sector, whereas in agricultural sector, employment means working people are more. At the same time, in the tertiary sector also, production in the service sector rose by 14 times, but employment in the service sector rose around 5 times. Employment increased only 5 times, but 5 times employed people are producing 14 times of the goods in the service sector. Means more work will be done by the less people, and as a result more than half of the workers in the country are working in the primary sector, mainly in agriculture, producing only a quarter of the GDP. So more people are working in agricultural sector, but they are producing only a quarter of the GDP. But in contrast with that, secondary and tertiary sectors produce 4/5 of the produce, where they employ less than half of the people. Means the people employment is only half, but they are producing more. Why? Because half of the people are producing more means less people are working more. This is the reason. So secondary sector and tertiary sector, there we can see the private sector. Public sector, that is next, afterwards we can discuss. So private sector, what the people will do, they can make to work more by less people. Okay, and this is the reason the employment is not created. Then another question you will get in your mind: does this mean that the workers in agricultural are not producing as much as they could? So many people are working in agricultural sector, then how they are producing only quarter GDP? Because here you have to understood that in agricultural sector, more people in working in agriculture than is necessary. Then what happens? These people are working in the agricultural sector. Those people are called underemployed. Means underemployed, they are working in agriculture. Then why their GDP is very less? I will tell you later. And now how the tertiary sector is becoming very important. Very important